Oh, hello. I'm so glad that you could join me for this video today. This is a tag video. This is the Am I a Snob? The Snobometer book tag. So, after this quick intro, we'll be right back to find out whether or not I'm a snob. The Am I a Snob? The Snobometer book tag was created by Isaiah at That Reading Guy 28, and I was tagged by Isabel at Isabel Reads and Cliff at Cliff's Dark Gems. And I will link all of their channels down in the description box below. So there are 12 prompts. 10 of the prompts are questions that will help you decide whether or not you are a book snob. And the 11th question is just to determine, after you answer the first 10, whether you think you are a snob. And then the last prompt, 12, is to tag people. I am very scared to do this because I am afraid I might be a little bit of a snob. So I don't think I've introduced myself. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a return, welcome back. And I am Jen, and I combine my master's in English with my passion for the horror genre to talk about the books that I read. And let's just get right into it, and let's see if I'm a snob. Prompt number 1. What is your definition of book snobbery? I certainly in academia encounter quite a bit of book snobbery. So I would say that someone who's a book snob is someone who thinks what they read is better than what other people read. They think their tastes are refined and elite, and they would look down on people who maybe don't enjoy classics or people who do enjoy horror like I do. So that's, kind of my ultimate definition is just thinking what you read is superior to what other people read. Prompt number 2. Is there a genre or type of book you would never consider reading? Such as, would you ever read a romance? Or if you regularly read romance, would you ever try a science fiction novel? Okay, so I don't know about never consider reading. I am not a romance reader, but I wouldn't say that I never would read a romance. I actually have a horror reader reads romance vlog. Now, I didn't really enjoy any of it, but I'm not going to say that I would never read a romance again. It's just not my typical genre. I don't enjoy fantasy unless it's, sometimes like a horror fantasy I'll enjoy, but I'm not sure that I would say never. Number 3, does erotica count as literature? I think it can if we're looking at terms of literature as being more of a, I don't know how to put this without sounding like a snob, but if we think about certain erotica materials that are written well, are written beautifully, I really think then that you could consider erotica literature. But, if we're talking, I don't know, some of these other types of erotica, like these outlandish ones that I may or may not have read just for the hell of it, like Halloween or Santa Claus is going to town on me, I would say those are not literature. So we're moving on now. Prompt number 4. Is it better to read classic books than popular bestsellers? No, not necessarily. I do enjoy classics, not all of them. And I do enjoy popular bestsellers. And some contemporary and popular books are written very well. And a lot of classics, in my opinion, are not written well. And I had to read quite a few of those. in grad school that I was sick of them, detested them, didn't see the value in continuing to read them. So a classic to me is a book that has value that endures. And some of the classics I had to read, I failed to see the value in. So I don't think it's better. No. Uh, Prompt number 5. Have you ever bragged about reading a classic in order to sound smart? Maybe. I'm trying to think. I mean, I talk about the classics I read, but I don't feel that I'm doing it to sound smart. Um, and I'll be honest, if there's a classic I read that I just didn't get right. So I don't think I've ever, talked about reading a classic purely for the sake of sounding smart. Prompt number 6. Do audiobooks count as reading? Absolutely. Yes. What about comic books and graphic novels? Absolutely, yes. As a matter of fact, there are a few graphic novels I use in my high school literature courses, and I find great value in them. I don't have them convenient to me right now, but I have a manga of Dracula. I have a manga of Frankenstein. I have a graphic novel of several of Poe's works. You may can see it back there, a graphic novel, The Lolo Woods by Carmen Maria Machado. And I've used all of those at different times in my classes that I teach. So absolutely they count as reading. Prompt number 7. Have you ever looked down at someone for reading a popular fluff book, a book with little substance, for example, a self-help or a celebrity memoir? No, no, I'm not going to look down on people for reading something. I'm happy to see people reading. I'm happy to see people enjoying books. So no, I don't look down on people. Prompt number 8. Have you ever been the recipient of someone else's snobbery? Yes. Yes. I was fortunate though in having a thesis advisor who encouraged me to take a look at why I am so drawn to the horror genre and why all of my years of grad school, a lot of the papers, as a matter of fact, the majority of them that I wrote, I used feminist theory as the lens. So my advisor encouraged me to look at the ways that my passion for the horror genre and my passion for feminist literary theory came together. And he encouraged me to pursue that. And when I decided to write my thesis on 4 of Stephen King's women characters, he was 100% all in. However, there were other times where I encountered peers or professors who definitely looked down on the horror genre or, Stephen King specifically. And I was fortunate to have, like I said, an advisor who encouraged that. But there's definite snobbery in academia, without a doubt. So I have encountered that. Number 9, would you ever be friends with a snob? Yes, and I am. I have some snobby book friends. Yes, I do. Prompt number 10. Are people who don't read less sophisticated than people who do? Mm, you know, uh, in a way, I have to say yes to that. I don't know if I would exactly use the word sophisticated, but I've talked about this in other videos before that being widely read and reading from various culture groups, various racial and ethnicities, various regions of the world, time periods, and being able to see the world through someone else's eyes and to be able to walk along through reading their experiences gives a greater empathy and compassion and understanding in a reader, whereas someone who doesn't read and especially someone who doesn't read from a variety of, types of people. I don't know, sophisticated maybe, but I would say also, and probably even more so, not able to relate to other people, kind of having this closed mindedness where all you can see is the world through your thin little perception, and you can't step out and think about it through the eyes of others. So possibly you could say that that makes a non-reader less sophisticated, but I would say maybe even less empathetic or able to see other people's value and other people's the validity of their experiences in the world that are different from your own. So, number 11, measure yourself based on your answers to the previous 10 questions. Would you qualify as a book snob? I don't think I'm a book snob. I may have a few snobbish tendencies, but based on my answers, I don't think I am. I'd love to know what you think. Do you think I'm a snob? And prompt number 12 is to tag some people. So I'm just going to tag anyone who would like to do this. If you do this tag, please tag me so I can come and watch your video and judge whether or not you're a book snob. And I want to just give a huge thank you to everyone who watched this video. I would really appreciate it if you would hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell so we can keep talking about snobbish book readers and non-snobbish book readers and just talk about books in general. Bye.